I just freestyle everything. I stopped writing things down when it came to melody, and that changed my life. Started going on the mic and just singing. The first thoughts that came in my head always are like the most interesting. That comes from me when I first hear a beat. By the time I get the paper out, it's like I done already wasted all that. So I don't even take time to listen to beats anymore. Like 3 seconds of a beat, I'm like, all right, put me in. I'm scared that if I play it, I'm gonna waste all my ideas by going to myself before I even go in the booth.
We're just talking about for the straight backdrop. We should also just get a backdrop. I'll pay for it. Okay. Let's just also get a backdrop that has like pastels and primary colors, like red, blue, just for when I want to do like graphic shit.
Oh no, but that's why I got 8 of them.
Oh fuck it, man. You do whatever you want to do, man. As long as I can get the primary colors, and I can get the pastels.
Yes.
You know, me and Drake laughed about it. It was funny, like,
if you want to keep going, I will keep going tonight. What's up? If you want to keep going, I will keep going tonight. Well, look. It's been love. I love y'all. I go by the name of Drake. Thank you for having me.
if I was him,
Right.
I'd have just been like, what? Hit. Boom. I just started running the hits. Boom, 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 boom. I didn't give them a chance to say nothing. Boom, 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 boom. I would have ran 90 hits.
Right.
I would have ran everything. Them kids would have sang at one of them joints.
They're still
Think so much of myself to be so much bigger and to be such a mogul in so many different places that I just feel like I won't allow myself to be limited to who I am right now. I'm bigger than that. I'm gonna be the biggest artist in the world one day. And not only am I gonna be the biggest artist in the world one day, that's just one thing. I'm gonna conquer that and I'm gonna keep on going. And I'm gonna do things that I'm not supposed to do. I'm just gonna do shit that is unheard of. And people are gonna go back and they're gonna go to this interview and be like, oh, yo, he was saying this shit.
What if the story you thought was finished wasn't? That's exactly where the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez saga sits today. Tory Lanez is serving a 10-year sentence for shooting Megan Thee Stallion in the feet back in 2020, and for years, people assumed the case was closed. But now, new evidence, explosive testimonies, prison violence, and a growing clemency push have flipped the narrative in ways nobody expected. And the internet? It's buzzing like never before. People thought the August 2023 sentencing was the final chapter. Tory Lanez had caught 3 felony convictions, including assault with a semi-automatic firearm, and was hauled off. But his legal team, led by lawyer Jose Baez, didn't just sit back. Appeals were filed, petitions were drafted, and quietly, behind the scenes, new developments started bubbling to the surface. Some of these would shock even the most die-hard fans who had followed every twist and turn of this story. It all started with a civil defamation lawsuit Megan filed in March 2025 against blogger Magro Grams. The case was meant to challenge posts that questioned the shooting, accusing Megan of exaggerating for clout. But during discovery, something extraordinary happened. Over 200 pages of medical records from Cedars-Sinai Medical Center surfaced. These records went all the way back to July 2020 and detailed the surgical removal of 4.380 caliber fragments from Megan's feet. X-ray images showed entry wounds, and doctors' notes revealed descriptions of the wounds that weren't fully consistent. Tory Lanez's defense immediately pounced. They claimed these inconsistencies could suggest that someone else in the car pulled the trigger. They framed it as a Brady violation, referencing the landmark 1963 Supreme Court ruling that prosecutors must hand over any evidence helpful to the defense. According to the petition filed in December 2025, prosecutors had failed to provide these records before the 2022 trial, despite having access through Megan's medical providers. The LA County DA's office fired back in January 2026, arguing that the records weren't exculpatory and that LAPD forensics had already tested the bullet fragments back in 2020. Lower courts had already denied requests for new evidentiary hearings, ruling the records were cumulative and wouldn't have changed the jury's verdict. Yet, with the California Supreme Court reviewing the petition, the door was still technically open, a tense wait for everyone following the case. Just when the paperwork seemed like the biggest twist, a man named Bradley James entered the conversation. James, who had been running security and driving for Kelsey Harris during the original trial, told Unite the People that Tory never actually fired the gun. According to James, Kelsey had the weapon, fired it 3 times, and Tory only grabbed her arm to knock it down, which caused 2 more shots to go off. This statement aligned with the testimony of bystander Sean Kelly, the only non-party witness at the time, who saw the scuffle from a distance. James's claims reignited questions that had been simmering since the trial. Why was Tory the only one swabbed for DNA when 3 other people were in the car? Why didn't anyone collect samples from the passenger side where Kelsey was seated? It's important to note, though, Bradley James's statement hasn't been introduced in any courtroom yet. Tory's team tried to get an affidavit from Kelsey to corroborate his account, but nothing materialized. So, while explosive, it's a legally fragile piece of the puzzle. But for the streets, it was enough to reignite the debate. And then there's Kelsey Harris, Megan's day one friend and makeup artist. On the night of July 12, 2020, she was in the backseat of the black Escalade, directly behind Tory Lanez. That made her a critical witness. In August 2020, she gave a 45-minute recorded statement to the LA County DA's office. She fingered Tory, detailed how playful banter escalated into jealousy-fueled accusations, and claimed he fired toward Megan's feet. That 2020 statement was clear and matched Megan Thee Stallion's account. Fast forward to December 2022. On the witness stand, Kelsey was unrecognizable. She fidgeted, avoided eye contact, and pleaded the fifth 52 times over 90 minutes. When asked who fired the shots, she couldn't recall. Even harmless questions unrelated to the gun, like who attended a celebrity party, TB's got the same blank response. Her lawyer had instructed her to plead the fifth to avoid potential perjury or accessory charges. Essentially, the friend who had initially blamed Tory became a non-factor in court. Then, in 2025, Kelsey filed a sworn declaration in Megan Thee Stallion's civil harassment suit. This time, she reaffirmed Tory's involvement, but vaguely, citing fear of retaliation as the reason she had stayed quiet during the trial. Her story? 2020 certainty, 2022 silence, 2025 cautious affirmation, has been dissected endlessly online. Appellate courts deemed her switch-up's trial strategy. But for Tory's supporters, Kelsey's behavior remains the biggest red flag in the case. While the legal drama crawled through courts, a violent incident in May 2025 brought renewed attention. Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times at the California Correctional Institution by an inmate serving life for murder. The attack allegedly involved a makeshift shank carved from a melted toothbrush, and it reportedly targeted Tory in less than 30 seconds. Reports claimed both lungs collapsed, requiring mechanical ventilation. Skeptics online debated the severity, but medical records confirmed emergency surgery. Lacerated muscles and a partially collapsed lung repaired, along with 1/200th units of blood plasma transfused. The aftermath exposed glaring negligence. A 2023 pre-transfer assessment had flagged Tory as vulnerable due to celebrity status and media scrutiny, yet he was placed in general population. After the attack, he was moved to California Men's Colony under strict supervision, 24/7 cameras, and limited yard access. His attorney filed a $500,000 civil suit citing negligence, referencing emails from prison staff warning of threats. Public reaction was split. Some showed concern, others joked or suggested he had it coming. This polarized response highlighted a broader debate about justice, punishment, and human decency. A conversation that continues online to this day. In December 2025, Tory broke a 3-year media silence with a 90-minute NBC interview from a visitation booth. He came through calm, wearing khakis and a gray hoodie, scars visible on his forearm. He insisted he never harmed a woman, criticized public perception, and admitted regret for not testifying at his trial, believing the verdict might have been different. Tory also addressed Megan Thee Stallion directly, stating he preferred a face-to-face conversation over public commentary. Some analysts criticized this positioning, noting it could appear dissonant for someone convicted of shooting to frame himself as the one extending grace. Meanwhile, the clemency push gained traction. In May 2025, Representative Anna Paulina Luna and 5 co-signers submitted a letter to Governor Gavin Newsom, citing buried medical records, Kelsey Harris's flip-flops, and Tory's rehabilitation efforts in prison, including earning a high school equivalency. Over 40,000 petition signatures were hand-delivered to CDCR headquarters. But politically, Newsom's office faces pressure. Pardoning Tory would clash with public support for Megan and could be framed as favoring an entertainer convicted of a violent act, a nearly impossible sell in the state political landscape. Despite all the drama, the forensic evidence remains solid. The Taurus PT-738 TCP pistol was recovered from the SUV with a partial DNA match to Tory Lanez. Gunshot residue testing revealed 12 particles on his right palm, well above the threshold, while Megan and Kelsey both tested negative. Ballistics matched 4 discharged casings to the pistol, and trajectory analysis confirmed the shots came from the front passenger seat, Tory's position, at a distance of 2 to 4 feet. The chain of custody spanned 5 years, 1,200 log entries, and 15 custodians. Independent reviews, including the Innocence Project, found no procedural errors, only interpretive debates. Retired LAPD Sergeant Mark Furman flagged minor gaps but no breach. In short, despite appeals, conspiracy theories, and public uproar, the forensic foundation supporting Tory's conviction has held strong. Meanwhile, life didn't stop for the main players. Megan Thee Stallion, now 31, continued her rise, dropping the 2022 album Traumazine, debuting at number 4 on the Billboard 200. Tory Lanez, 33, released the Lost Tape EP series while behind bars, turning his experience into music. The case, the stabbing, and the appeals fueled internet debates and social media discussions, keeping the story alive in ways courtrooms never could. Online, theories continue to swirl. Some allege Roc Nation, Jay-Z's label, orchestrated elements of the case, jury influence, court manipulation, even prison placement. No evidence supports these claims in court, but speculation persists, highlighting how celebrity, media, and the justice system intersect in complicated ways. Public sentiment remains divided. Some argue Tory is a victim of legal and systemic oversights. Others see him as rightly convicted and focus on Megan's resilience and success. Either way, the narrative refuses to settle. Appeals are ongoing, clemency is pending, and the story continues to evolve. So where does this leave us? In court, Tory Lanez's conviction stands. The forensic evidence hasn't cracked, and appellate courts continue to uphold the verdict. Online, however, debates rage. Fans dissect new statements, question Kelsey Harris's credibility, debate Bradley James' claims, and speculate about political maneuvering and clemency. Social media amplifies every twist, turning a case that might have faded into a persistent public narrative. Megan continues to thrive, building her career, her brand, and her legacy. Tory remains behind bars, navigating legal battles, recovery from violence, and a complex public image. And the truth? It exists somewhere in the middle, filtered through court records, testimonies, and endless speculation. The case is a lesson in perception, evidence, and storytelling. Facts in a courtroom might be black and white, but in the public eye, shades of gray dominate. And as new evidence emerges, as people speak out, and as the internet debates, one thing is certain: the story isn't over. It's evolving, one chapter at a time, and everyone watching is part of the conversation. Thanks for sticking through this deep dive. If you want more insider breakdowns of celebrity legal battles, shocking twists, and the stories behind the headlines, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications, because the next story, it's guaranteed to surprise you.